Hello there, my friend, and welcome to the Disney Travel Secrets show, podcast, and YouTube channel. I think that covers it all. Rob and Kerri Stuart here, coming to you from the Creating Magic Vacation Studio in beautiful Orlando, Florida. You're listening to episode number 429. Original air date, May the 5th, 2025.
Yeah. So happy Cinco de Mayo. And if you joined us on our last episode, we talked about all the cool tours that you can do at Walt Disney World. So if you missed that, be sure to go and check out that show.
Yes, do that. So this week we're talking about one of probably the most crucial decisions that you'll make on your trip to the Mouse, specifically in Orlando. Okay, technically Lake Buena Vista. And that is...
Wait, hold on.
What?
Don't spill the beans quite yet. Of course, if they read the title, you know.
Technically, okay, we should change the title.
Okay.
Let's do that. Go ahead, Hugh.
Hello, my friends. This is former Disney Imagineer Hugh Darley, and you're listening to Disney Travel Secrets with my friends Rob and Kerri Stuart. As you can imagine, I have plenty of Disney secrets myself, and I can't wait to share them with you. Let's get this show on the road. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Hugh. And I had a great talk with him last week about an upcoming project that we're working on that we are very excited about. And what's crazy is that we talked about working together, I think last year or the year before last, and time just got away from us. It was another record year thanks to our amazing CMV agents and all of our awesome clients agency-wide.
Yeah, so this project is something that is growing like crazy. And fortunately, we are at the forefront of this fast-growing phenomenon, and that is pickleball, and specifically pickleball vacations. Do you think they're going to come to Disney?
At some point, I think they're going to have to.
Yeah, well, because they have those tennis courts, and nobody's using those, so it just makes sense. We will keep an eye on that for you.
Yes, we will. We'll see if we can be the impetus to do that and make it happen.
But in the meantime.
So it's why we started our new division, which is Luxury Pickleball Escapes. Now, don't go looking for a website or a Facebook page because we really don't need that. We have enough to keep us busy without having to manage another page.
Yeah, and this is specifically, for at least for now, pickleball vacations to Sandals Resorts. Not really even beaches, they're family property, but our first events this summer will be exclusively at Sandals South Coast in Jamaica. How cool is that?
I'm excited because they have a dozen dedicated pickleball courts as opposed to what some people call hybrid, where you use a tennis court and they set it up. And I don't play pickleball. I've done it once. That's another story. But the true pickleball aficionados, they want a dedicated court. And so with this project with Sandals, that's where Hugh comes in. Hugh now, he lives there full time. And he has spent so much time there that they refer to him as Jamaican. And this does deserve more detail.
Yeah, so as a Disney Imagineer, Hugh served as an art director and graphics designer specifically for the World Showcase area of Epcot. And he worked directly with legendary Imagineers like Walthall Rogers, John Hench, and the legendary Marty Sklar.
And we were talking last week and I mentioned him, like, you were able to build Epcot faster than Disney can build or redesign the rides these days. And he said, we didn't know any better. So I say, bring back these guys to get these things done at Disney, at least the ones that are still with us, because Hugh is still with us.
Yeah, so Hugh was also the designer of the cruise port in Falmouth, Jamaica, which opened in 2011 by welcoming Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas. So there is a lot more to that story.
So our partnership with Hugh will be doing some specific specialized tours around the resorts, which will start at Sandals South Coast, specifically. Say that 3 times really fast. So we'll keep you posted on that for sure. So it's going to be a really cool project.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool to do a tour with an Imagineer.
Yes.
That would be fun. So we ourselves are headed to Sandals St. Vincent in the Grenadines in June. And Hugh is actually planning to come there while we're there. So we'll get to meet up with him. I always love hearing his Imagineering stories.
I know. I'm looking forward to that. So, but now on to another exciting project, because we're not busy enough.
Hey, I don't say that we're busy. We just have a lot of balls in the air, which is fun.
Yes, we do.
So we launched the CMV Heroes Project benefiting Folds of Honor last year, but now it's time to plus it up, and the timing could not be better.
So later this week on May 9th is Military Spouse Appreciation Day. And I have to admit, I did not know about this at all until recently. And I think it's a fantastic idea.
So we have partnered with a company called Instant Teams. In their words, they are a military spouse CX teams that make brands stronger And CX, for those that don't know, means customer service.
I had to learn that too. So this project is specifically to help military spouses become CMV travel agents with us, a business that can travel with them anywhere. See what I did there?
But here's what's interesting. Did you know that the unemployment rate among this group is over 5 times higher than the national average? That is unacceptable. And our goal is to change that by helping them run their own business so that they don't need a job. Well, it's kind of a job. In a way.
It's an adventure.
It is an adventure.
We had another awesome week of talking to potential new agents, but also booking the 2026 Disney trips for our clients. Now, FYI, when you fill out that vacation form, you're going to get a call from me, not my team, and that will be from a 727 area code. I say that because I can't even count the number of times that I make a call, I leave a voicemail and or a text, and I never get a response. So if you filled out that form, keep an eye out for a 727 area code.
I know it is really interesting, but there's a reason we'd like to talk to you. And I think you'll learn more on today's show why that conversation is so important. But also a reminder that we are booking 2026 vacations all the way through Halloween of next year.
And when I do these new vacation calls, there's one thing that always is something where you guys have the most questions, and that is which resort to choose.
So today we are going to give you all the information that you need to help you choose the best resort for you and your family. And this does come from experience because we have stayed at every resort on Disney property, including shades of green. So we're talking like well over 25 different resorts.
And that is with one exception. That is the Swan Reserve. We haven't done that one yet, but we have stayed at the Waldorf, the Hilton, and also the Wyndham Grand Bonnet Creek.
Yeah, and the Hilton, they changed their name to Signa by Hilton Collection or something. It's still the exact same hotel and a really good lazy river there too.
Okay, when did they do that? Okay. Anyway, so we're focusing this week on Disney owned and operated properties. So let's start with the basics. You may know this. They're broken down into 3 categories. We have value, moderate, and deluxe resorts.
And you may know that already if you've listened to the show because we've referenced them many times over the years.
We have.
But now, did you know what makes them really different? And it does come down to a few key factors.
Right. The value and moderate resorts are motels, meaning outdoor hallways, the doors open to the outside, and the hallways are concrete, so they are definitely a little bit noisier.
Yeah, so with the exception, though, of the Grand Destino Tower, which technically it's a moderate resort, and then also the family suites over at Art of Animation. Those open up to actual hallways.
Yes, they do. Now, deluxe resorts are hotels, so they have interior carpeted hallways. You know, the doorways open into the interior hallways. They're just better in every way, which, of course, in Disney speak means pricier. But in our opinion, they're worth every penny. You also have nicer lobbies, better restaurants, and other food options, plus the best pools on Disney property.
So something else to consider other than like your budget is location. So as you can imagine, the value resorts are not in the best locations. Not that there's really any bad locations at Walt Disney World.
Well,
I mean, you're in the bubble. Okay, what?
Okay. You know where we're going on this one.
I know.
The All-Stars are in the absolute worst location for sure, which makes getting to any park other than Animal Kingdom, a longer ride, just a longer process. And again, as you know, time is money, and more on that in the transportation segment.
So one of the things I like to ask clients is, what parks are you planning on visiting the most, or maybe going multiple times during your trip? Because this can make a difference on what resort we recommend for you based on the location.
We are not going to include all of the DVC, the Disney Vacation Club resorts, but they are all in these same areas for the most part. So
yeah,
there is that.
So for visiting the parks, the main areas that you can stay are going to be the Monorail area. So those are going to be your deluxe resorts. You got Contemporary, Poly, Grand Floridian, and Wilderness Lodge.
And then one of our favorite areas to stay is the Epcot resorts. Again, these are deluxe. So there you've got Yacht Club, Beach Club, and my personal favorite, Boardwalk.
Yeah, those I think are super easy. But now with the Skyliner, when they added that like well over 5 years ago, there's the Skyliner resorts. And this one is the one that has all 3 levels of resorts. So you have Pop Century and Art of Animation. Those are your values. Caribbean Beach, Moderate, and Riviera in the Deluxe category.
So the other moderates other than Caribbean Beach includes our favorite, which is Port Orleans French Quarter. Also the sister property, Port Orleans Riverside. And yes, you can walk between them freely.
Yeah, and it's a nice walk along the river. And then you also have Coronado Springs, which is also known as more of a convention hotel. But the game changer there is when they built the Gran Destino Tower, which I think has the best concierge club, in our opinion, the Kronos Club. It's on the top floor. It's really, really large and has some really beautiful views.
I love that. And since it is designed, this resort, for conventions, there are the most restaurant options. One of our favorites being Three Bridges. I love that place.
And as you can imagine, as you go from a value to a moderate to a deluxe, the rooms do get bigger and they also get nicer. So deluxe resorts, the first floor is going to have like a patio and all the other floors are going to have a balcony.
And what's strange, so there is an exception for, and it's Polynesian for some reason that I don't know. Some of the second floors, or most of them, don't have one. It was more, I guess, of a design feature. Although some in the DVC area on the second floor at Poly do have balconies.
Yeah. Also, think about not just the room size, but the bathroom size. Yeah. The values are definitely the smallest. It is hard for two people to get ready in that bathroom at the same time. We know this from experience.
Yes, that is firsthand knowledge. The moderates add a second sink, so that does help. But again, still a relatively small bathroom.
And then the deluxe are definitely more spacious, and it's easy for 2 or even 3 people to be getting ready at the same time. You have a lot more counter space there.
It's also a great area for the pack and play. I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
So the other feature of the deluxe rooms in this category is they sleep 5 guests. Plus they have suites you can book, like our favorite, which is the Turret Suite over at Yacht Club. That'll sleep up to 8 people.
Yeah. Or you can do one of the 2-bedroom suites at a deluxe. There are several, and there's a lot to choose from, but it is at the deluxe category.
And they do book fast. But also the suites are also in the best locations at their individual resorts.
Yeah, and you can always plus up your accommodations though. The key is to choose one that's going to fit your individual family style of travel. For example, do you need separate beds because you have 2 teens and they are not going to want to share a queen bed? Well, a deluxe may be best for you, or get a family suite at a value resort.
Or just get 2 rooms at a value resort. Again, this is why you want to work with someone who knows the resorts and not just randomly trust a stranger on the internet. Or please, for the love of Rob and Kerri, don't trust Facebook pages.
I know those people, they will go and they'll stay at some resort, talk it up like it's the best thing. And what you don't know is their style of travel may not match your style of travel.
Which is why we talk to you individually and say, hey, where do you guys normally stay? Outside of Disney, where do you guys travel? Now let's talk about, we've chosen your resort, you're on property. How do you get around to the parks and maybe other resorts if you want, using Disney transportation? Because
this does make a difference when you decide to choose your resort. So I was talking to a client and, I was like, she goes, this is how much I want to spend. And I said, well, you're going to want to go to Epcot and to Hollywood Studios multiple times on your trip. And I said, Skyliner would be perfect. And she said, I am terrified of heights. And so I don't think I'm going to be getting on the Skyliner at all.
I agree.
So,
I totally agree.
So no, those are the little things that do make a difference, because that would have been very frustrating if she's like, wait, this is the only way I'm staying at Caribbean Beach and that's how I'm going to get to the parks and I'm scared to death. Yeah, that's not going to work for me.
No, that's true. And it's also because if you're staying at Caribbean Beach, there aren't buses that go to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. They expect you to take the Skyliner. The only caveat to that is if the Skyliner is down for bad weather, then they will bring some buses over. But there are primarily about 5 ways to get around. I'm not going to talk about the minivans or rideshare and all that. So you have the buses, the monorails, the boats, the Skyliner, and even walking.
Yes, the buses are the most popular. So check out some of these numbers for the bus fleet that is at Disney. They have 490 buses, and 90 of them are brand new since 2024 because they were replacing some of the older models
that needed it. Yeah. So 100 routes, and get this, 12,000 trips per day, and 4.6 million monthly riders.
That's so crazy though.
I know.
Okay, but let's talk about the Skyliner. I absolutely love it. Is it a transportation? Is it a ride? Or is it both?
I think it's both. And that has changed our recommendation specifically for the moderate resorts. It used to be French Quarter. We still love French Quarter. But since the Skyliner, Caribbean Beach has been a go-to for a lot of our clients.
Yeah, and it sells out quickly, and
it's huge.
And it can be priced a little higher, but this is also why we always recommend Pop Century or Art of Animation as our go-to for a value resort. But to be very clear, we never recommend the All-Stars for many reasons. A lot of it is just the distance.
And we always suggest, think about your end of the day, not the beginning of the day. So leaving the Magic Kingdom with tired kids in a stroller, you have to fold up the stroller, wait in a long line for a bus, then at least a 15 to 20 minute bus ride, at least before you're back to the All-Star resorts. And that's probably being generous.
Yeah. So, and speaking of the walking option, if that is your preference, to get to like Magic Kingdom, let's say you're going to be going there a lot, Contemporary is going to be ideal. Now you can walk from Grand Floridian. It's just a little bit longer when it's hot. That is a brutal walk.
But I do like that walk specifically because you're walking right by the monorail. Epcot is also very walkable from all the Epcot resorts. But did you know you could also walk from those resorts to Hollywood Studios? This is a longer walk than if you're, going from Grand over to Magic Kingdom. Going from any of the, Yacht Beach Boardwalk, you're walking to Hollywood Studios, it is definitely longer.
It is a nice walk, though, if the weather is cooperating. Now, if you're thinking that you don't want to pay for a deluxe resort, but you would love to experience it, one strategy is to do a split stay.
Now, that does mean changing resorts. And, for some of you, it's worth it. It could look something like this. On a 7-night vacation, you might do 5 nights at Pop Century, and then move over to a deluxe like a Monorail or an Epcot resort.
And this is important. Always save the deluxe for the end of the trip, the last one you visit, because you are not going to want to go from a deluxe to a value or even a moderate for that matter.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's the same advice for people that want to do a split stay. And the split stay is Disney and Universal. Always do Universal. Trust us on that one.
Yeah, do that with Universal first every time because that's going to make a big difference.
Yes.
But there really is nothing like staying in the Disney bubble. And to me, it's kind of like when you go on a cruise. Once you board and you're on the ship, you're like, I am on vacation. The rest of the world is shut down. Disney World feels like that too once you're in the bubble. So once you arrive, you go under that sign, you're like, I am on vacation. I don't have to leave this bubble.
You will not get that feeling at a Disney Springs hotel. Not that they're bad. And please do not do one of those timeshare things down on 192 or anywhere in the tourist area. It really, that's when you see the dirty side of the whatever is outside the Disney bubble.
Yeah, no, and you'll feel like you're like trekking in every day. But where you stay matters, and it will make a difference to your Disney vacation.
So let us help match you with the right resort for your next stay. We're currently booking through October 31st, 2026. Yes, 2026. Thanks for that announcement, Disney.
Also, this past week, we kicked off our new weekly email called Magic in a Minute. It is a little 1-minute tip or story to add a little extra magic and give you some ideas every single week for your upcoming Disney trips. So if you aren't getting our emails, you can subscribe by just clicking on the link in the show description.
Thanks again for listening or watching in this case. And until next time, have a magical day.
We hope to see you real soon.